Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I want to talk about Stranger Things. I do, but I kind of want to do it a little differently.
His other song was bitchin'. As the kids say. Do the kids say that? Bitchin'.
So instead of just kind of going through the first 4 episodes of Season 5, they're calling it Volume 1. For whatever reason, Netflix is releasing it in a very weird and interesting way. So the first 4 episodes, I've watched them, and I have a lot of thoughts. But instead of just going through like plot point by plot point and just what I think of it, which is what I normally do, I have seen online, which I know, but with everything, there's always a discourse. There's always people discussing things. There's always people who say very great, high praise. And then there are people who are just shitting on the show or shitting on everything. Every fandom, everything that's popular. If you get too popular, there's a certain segment and portion of people, especially online, that will turn on it. Even though they're probably all watching. Or even though they're all like engaged and maybe they secretly like it, but they just want to be cool, or they just want to get engagement, so they shit talk the show. I want to maybe see what you guys think. What do you guys think of not just Stranger Things in general, but Stranger Things this current season, the first 4 episodes? I personally enjoyed how it started with, now I know when Netflix first released that de-aged Will scene where it's him younger and the CGI to make him look younger, and it was a whole sequence of him in the Upside Down, pretty much a flashback but a new scene from season 1, and he's running from a Demogorgon. Like, all of that was cool. I kind of liked that they did it. Yes, the CG was a little weird, but honestly it looked better than the de-aging on 11 back in season 4, so I guess I'm not gonna shit too hard on this one. And also, whenever you hear people say that this show has only gotten popular or only became big because it's nothing but 80s nostalgia, or it's nothing but just capitalizing on people who love the 80s. I mean, I was born in 88, but I don't consider myself an 80s kid. Like, I don't have these memories of the 80s or the feel of what the 80s were. I'm more of a 90s kid. Even with that said, sure, there are aspects of this show taking place in the 80s. There are definitely moments of them taking advantage of that time period. And sure, previous seasons, yes, they have used old music. They have emphasized certain video games or the mall. Yes, the 80s are ingrained to this, no doubt. I'm not denying that. But I don't feel like that's the only thing that this show has to offer. I don't feel like without that, this show still wouldn't have been as popular, because bringing back the Demogorgons for this season so far, I think has been a huge plus. I've always thought the Demogorgons were the creepiest creatures of the show. I mean, sure, they had that shadowy thing in season 2. They had the big giant creepy monster, like I'm talking, like a Godzilla sized monster in season 3. And now you have Vecna, but the Demogorgons, just their design, the way they move, now when you see a group of them, like, they're terrifying in a lot of ways. And so I think this few episodes have done a good job of reestablishing how dangerous they are when they go after the military. Like, that whole sequence, holy shit. Speaking of the military lockdown, I like that this is such a huge emphasis this season. The way how the last season ended, you had to continue that. And the idea that the military aren't to be trusted, or that they have their own ulterior motives, I think that's great. Anytime you can have, whether it's a horror thing or whether a movie, TV show likes to portray something that normally should be trustful, something that you should look at and say, yes, those are the good guys, and you flip it and you switch it to like, oh no, they might be the bad guys. For example, having Linda Hamilton show up as one of the head military people who has her own operation going on behind the scenes. And she plays this so cold, so calculating, so creepy, to be honest. And then you have Eleven and Hopper. Hopefully they're able to get along in these scenes that they're having. But Eleven, yes, is my favorite character on the show. So I'm going to be a little biased towards her and her storylines. But I like pairing her with Hopper once again because, yes, we've seen a lot of them together. But this is somewhat different of they're in the Upside Down together. They're going through this conflict of Hopper's being overprotective, which makes sense. He's her father figure. He's gone through his own stuff of losing his daughter, and she is at a point where she's capable, or she feels capable. She feels like she could do this. And she probably can, but I think their dynamic is very strong and fun to watch. Now, one of the major complaints, besides the ones I've already mentioned, one big post, and a lot of people had their opinions on it, was the Robin character. Robin, Maya Hawke. I like the Robin character. She was introduced in, I think, season 3. And she started off as somebody that we thought would be like Steve's new love interest, but you come to find out that she's gay. She's a lesbian. And I think her being a lesbian, maybe not everybody will admit this, but I think that's rubbed people the wrong way, or that's angered a certain segment of people who, because it's become her character. And now, sorry to say, but for some people that is who they are. That is a big part of who they are. And so maybe they just don't like that it's so much her character now, or it's everything that she talks about. Some people don't like the fact that she seems to be written as the comic relief, that everything she says is a little goofy or a little lighthearted. But I feel like because the show is very dark and heavy at times, I think the majority of the show is pretty heavy. I think she's one of the few characters that bring that levity, bring that comedy. Because even characters like Steve and Dustin, they're going through their issues right now, and you're not really getting as much comedy, maybe some, but not as much as we're used to. So Robin fulfilling that, I think, is fine. I think it works. And I also feel like after that scene where Robin talks to Will, and she talks about how much of her basically coming out and trusting in herself, loving herself, is what made her feel like she can fly. She feels free. She's now here because of how happy she is. I think that is portrayed in the performance of how much more comfortable the Robin character is, how much more outspoken and talkative she is. I think that's on purpose. I don't think it's like, oh, let's just write her to be goofy. Like, I think there's a purpose and reason to it. And so for me, her character works. I mentioned Steve and Dustin, and they're like arguing a lot and they're bickering a lot. They have their issues. I understand, if somebody were to say that they're arguing too much or it's too much back and forth, I can understand that. The first episode, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Dustin's messed up over Eddie's death, and so he has to sort of deal with that. But it's like, man, episode 4, they're still bickering. They're still angry at each other. They're still not wanting to talk to each other. So I kind of wish that we moved that along. Everybody, though, that has watched the show, I have been seeing positive things universally about Karen. Karen, not a name that you say positive things for nowadays, but Karen Wheeler, the mother, her scene of protecting Holly from the Demogorgon was super badass, was super almost out of nowhere. She's always sort of had her moments on the show, but this sort of cemented her as like, everybody says great things about her now. Everybody's talking up that scene. That's also a scene where she's stabbing the Demogorgon with her wine bottle. I thought that was great, and I love the fact that they didn't kill her, because it seemed like yeah, she was gonna die or she was dead. And I think any other movie or show would have been like, yeah, we don't need her anymore, so we can kill her. No, it's like sometimes you can do both things. You can create that tension, create that fear, create that sadness, create that plot point beat for Nancy, who is definitely growing as one of my favorite characters this season. You have her have that moment of almost losing her mom, but you don't have to get rid of the character. You don't have to just kind of discard these characters and toss them aside. It's the easy way out, and I'm glad that they're having these moments without fully killing them off. Holly, the little girl, the little sister, who, you know, is now so much older. Like, it's kind of weird to see her this older. I know it's not the same actress, but like, in theory, Holly's now older. It's like, it's weird. And her being taken, she's dealing with Henry, Vecna, Mr. What's-It, whatever you want to call this motherfucker at this point. Her storyline became infinitely more interesting, not just because it's like, yeah, she's now the one who's disappeared, like Will in the first season. Like, she's the one that they're trying to save, so sure. But when she runs into Max is in a coma in the real world, but in this reality, it's her consciousness. Like, somehow her mind is there, and there's a lot going on there. But I just like, so far, what I've seen with the Max character, especially her explaining how she's been trying to get out of there. And the last thing I want to talk about is Will being able to access these powers. Holy fuck, what a way to end that final episode of him unlocking these abilities. He does the same fucking shit that Vecna did to people in the previous season. He was able to do it to Demogorgons, and he saved at least his friends, right? Like, I just thought that was really cool. Maybe not everybody's not going to like the fact that Will has powers now, but I think his powers are directly tied to Vecna. I don't think he'll have them if, like, Vecna's dead, or if you sever that connection. I think we have some threads. 11 finding that girl. 8 was the very last thing that I expected them to bring back, because everybody hated that episode, but hey, we're gonna do something with it. Overall, I've really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. Volume 1, I think, has been solid. I am very interested to see how this moves going forward, how they try to wrap this up in a pretty bow. Maybe there will be still a thread for things, spin-offs. I'm not convinced that Netflix is just going to be done with Stranger Things after the new year. So guys, let me know in the comments below, not only what did you think of the first 4 episodes of Season 5, Volume 1. It's a whole lot of ways to describe this. But also, what do you think of some of the complaints? Do you agree with some of the complaints? Do you have your own complaints about the series that I haven't even mentioned myself? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah. Also, how much older the kids look now is quite hilarious. I just okay. Later.